Straight up, let's go. Welcome to Straight Up TJAY. Tap in, sit back, press replay. Been locked in with the Saints on a weekday. Now we talking every sport, every big play. Years on the grind, now we level up the view. From the dome to the world, get a better look at you. No script.
What's going on? It is yours truly, TJ Jones. Welcome to another edition of the Straight Up TJAY Podcast. Really do appreciate your time. Much love to each and every one of you that are checking out this podcast. Before we get started, I ask that you hit the like and subscribe button. Please hit the like button as you make your way in. And also want to let you know that you can check out, if you are a New Orleans Saints fan, you can check out Sleeper Saints YouTube channel that is available right now. Yours truly has been, doing videos and just, trying to give you content pertaining to the New Orleans Saints. So if you're into that, make sure that you hit the link inside of the comments. It'll bring you directly there and you can subscribe to the channel. We're going to be talking about Saints OTAs on that channel real soon. So to all the members of the Who Dat Nation, you might want to subscribe to that channel because probably going to have definitely going to have more Saints content over there. And I don't want you to miss it. And it's not going to be videos that you're going to be able to get on this channel. But the question is, what are the hottest topics going on around the National Football League and when it comes to OTAs? And we're also going to be talking about Josh Jacobs, man. Josh Jacobs, star running back of the Green Bay Packers, getting arrested. And how is this going to affect the Green Bay Packers this season? Want to say shouts out to everybody that's in the comments right now that's here. Shouts out to everybody that's watching this at home, on the go, wherever you are. But let's go ahead and get into it, man. Let's talk a little bit about Josh Jacobs. Man, this is very unfortunate. Josh Jacobs got himself arrested, and I got the article right here. Kind of talks a little bit about it. Now, as of right now, he has been released from custody after arrest in Brown County. DA not ready to formally charge Packers running back. Now, this is from the NFL.com. It says Green Bay Packers running back Josh Jacobs. Go ahead and pull that up on the screen, man, so everybody can see it, so we can follow this together. Something very, like I said, very unfortunate about Josh Jacobs, but at the end of the day, man, you can't put yourself in this type of position. You really can't. So go ahead and put that up on the screen. Hopefully you all can see that. Says Browns County District Attorney David Lassee says in Wednesday's statement that his office had requested additional investigations as there is reason to believe that additional evidence may exist that would impact whether criminal charges are appropriate or what charges would be issued. A final charging decision will be made by the DA's office at a later date. Says Josh Jacobs was arrested on Tuesday on 5 charges, including felony strangulation, and booked in Browns County Jail, according to the Hobart Lawrence Police Department press release. The arrest stems from an alleged incident on Saturday morning in which Hobart Lawrence police was dispatched to a disturbance complaint involving Jacobs. In addition to the charges of felony strangulation, Jacobs, who's 28, was booked on 4 misdemeanor counts of assault, criminal damage to property, disorderly conduct, and intimidation of the victim, according to the jail records. All right, so there you go, man. Josh Jacobs finding himself in the news for all of the wrong reasons. My goodness, man. First off, I don't think I need to sell any Green Bay Packers fan on how important Josh Jacobs is to the success of the Green Bay Packers. Look no further than his stats last season. He had 234 attempts, 929 yards, and 13 touchdowns last season as a member of the running game, right? This guy has absolutely been spectacular since he's gotten the league. And look, I watched Josh Jacobs from his time when he was at the University of Alabama. He was dynamic there. He was dynamic with the Raiders. The Raiders are the Raiders. So, you want to see a guy with this type of talent to be able to go somewhere where he can really show what he can do. And he got his opportunity with the Green Bay Packers, and it seemed like it was hand in glove when it comes to the Green Bay Packers and Josh Jacobs. Really good production his first season there. Really good production, second season there. But this isn't what you want to see. And look, man, we hear about these situations all the time. I'm not going to speculate here. I'm not going to, say who did what or he said, she said. Look, the problem is anytime that you are an athlete, you're a public figure, and you get into issues and episodes like this, and you see things like strangulation and damage and property and intimidation and all that kind of stuff, it's going to look scary because you're thinking about a 6'1", 6'2", 225-pound guy who is very, very upset. And that is what people are going to look at. And they already look at football players as, baboons, like big, tough guys, Neanderthals, if you will. So that's not a good look, right? I feel like everybody should reserve their judgment till all the facts come out. But at the end of the day, you have to wonder what is going to happen to Josh Jacobs. What is going to happen to him if he has to serve a suspension? If some evidence comes out to show that he did exactly what they're saying that he did, how are the Green Bay Packers going to be affected by this? You don't have your star running back. I like Jordan Love a lot. I think that he's a talented quarterback, but I just think that he benefits from Josh Jacobs being in the backfield. You can check it down to him, hand the ball off to him. He can make guys miss and also create opportunities for the offense to be able to move down the field. So not having Josh Jacobs on your team is going to be tough. But Josh has got to make better decisions, man. If somebody's making you that upset, man, you got to leave, man. You got to leave. You got to go take 5. You can't allow anybody to make you so upset that you get out of your position because millions of dollars on the line. Your reputation is on the line. The team's success is on the line. And I know nobody thinks about that stuff when real life things are going on, but you got to think about it in the grand scheme of things. You got to surround yourself with people that can calm you down, and you definitely don't want to be around anybody that makes you get out of your position to a point where an arrest has to be made. It's unfortunate, very unfortunate for Josh Jacobs, but at the end of the day, hopefully this is a learned lesson for him, and he sees, man, he is a public figure, and people are going to make sure that he goes down because, you are in the spotlight. And if a lawyer can attach themselves to you, if somebody else can attach themselves to you, and they can find a way to get a little money grab from you, trust and believe they are going to do that. So going to, reserve our full judgment, but, you got to make better decisions if you're Josh Jacobs. And I'm just wondering what the NFL is going to do. I'm pretty sure they're going to wait to court hearings and all that kind of stuff comes out, and maybe they'll do something, but just can't put yourself in that position, man. You just can't. Shouts out to everybody here. Feel free to put your comments inside of the chat, regardless of what team you represent, regardless of what team that you root for. Well, we'll answer your questions the best way possible. All right. Going to go ahead and move on here. And let's talk a little bit about OTAs. OTAs has kicked off around the National Football League. We know that the Seattle Seahawks are going to be defending their championship this season after a wonderful, spectacular season, incredible season for the Seahawks. Nobody expected for them to be in that position, say the least, win it all. But teams are aspiring to do what the Seattle Seahawks have done. You think about the Seattle Seahawks. I mean, they got rid of Pete Carroll a few years ago. They bring in Mike McDonald. Nobody really knew who Mike McDonald was unless you're like knee deep in the NFL game. I mean, you probably just think they're talking about the singer or something. I mean, this guy isn't a rah-rah guy. He's just about his business, and he turned the Seattle Seahawks around in short order. But other teams that are going to be jockeying for position this season, and I got to start with the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs went 6-11 last season. For the first time in Patrick Mahomes' career, the Chiefs didn't make the playoffs. He tore his ACL. It just seemed like everything that could go wrong did go wrong for the Kansas City Chiefs. They're not going to get sympathy from the NFL masses, I can tell you that. Like, nobody is losing sleep knowing that the Kansas City Chiefs did not make the playoffs. As a matter of fact, some people are full of joy because the Kansas City Chiefs didn't make the postseason last year. But Patrick Mahomes is going to be coming off that ACL injury. You got to wonder, how is that going to affect him? You've seen video footage of Patrick Mahomes. There was a clip of him throwing the football, and he had a heavy knee brace on. So he's still healing and rehabbing from that ACL tear that he had in 2025. That is a team to watch. You got to wonder, how are they going to respond? You got the Denver Broncos on the come up. You got the Raiders. They got themselves a brand new coach in Clint Kubiak, who was the offensive coordinator of Seattle Seahawks, extremely instrumental in helping them be able to get to that Super Bowl. You got the Los Angeles Chargers. You got Jim Harbaugh as the coach. Justin Herbert is the quarterback. They tried to fix their offensive line, bring in some weapons. So what is going to happen with the Kansas City Chiefs? Are they going to be able to rise to the top once again of the AFC West? You move on. You got to think about what's going on in Minnesota. J.J. McCarthy was drafted to be the guy in Minnesota. He was supposed to be the guy that was supposed to lead the Minnesota Vikings for years to come. I don't know what J.J. McCarthy did. I can't put my finger on it. I have absolutely no idea what dude did in order for him to be in the doghouse so quickly. I mean, for them to turn the page like that on J.J. McCarthy after 1 year of starting, that just tells you that they don't see anything in JJ. And they bring in Kyler Murray, who is coming from the Arizona Cardinals. He signs a 1-year deal with them, the more of a prove-it deal. I expect for him to be the starting quarterback. Want to see what JJ McCarthy can do. Maybe this isn't exactly the Minnesota Vikings washing their hands and completely giving up on JJ McCarthy. More so, this is a wake-up call for JJ, letting him understand that you got to be serious about this thing. We're trying to win some football games. So we got to keep a close eye on Minnesota. Buffalo is another team that has some questions to be answered this season. Number one, can they win games without Josh Allen heroics? Josh Allen was out there with some pretty mediocre wide receiver play. I mean, no disrespect to those guys, but they didn't give him much in 2025. Josh Allen had to put the cape on and try to make things happen every single week. And if he didn't, then the Buffalo Bills weren't going to win anything. All right. So they went out, they made a trade with the Chicago Bears. They bring in DJ Moore. Now they got themselves a number one wide receiver, a guy that's not going to be complaining all up in Josh Allen's face, making the situation uncomfortable. This is a guy who has a lunch pail mentality, going to come to work, going to make plays. But this is also a wake-up call for guys like Keon Coleman, who is going into his third season. He was a second-round pick. He was the first pick of the second round when he came out a few years ago, and everybody expected for Keon Coleman to be that guy in Buffalo, to do some of the things that he did at Florida State. So is this going to be the year where Keon Coleman puts it all together? You know, a lot of people felt there was some, maturity issues going on with Keon. But can Keon go alongside DJ Moore? I mean, they already got Khalil Shakur. He's a really good, talented guy at the wide receiver position. You got Palmer out there. So they got some players, man. But they are going to need to help Josh Allen. The defense is going to have to be opportunistic. You don't have Sean McDermott anymore, a guy who specialized in defense. But offensively, you got Joe Brady. You got yourself your young coach. How is Joe Brady going to fare in Buffalo as the head coach? He's been there. Of course, he was the offensive coordinator, but it's a whole different beast when you're running a show. So keep a close eye on Buffalo. I know that I am. I'll stop right there, and I'll see what you all have to say. What team are you looking at? What team are you focusing on when it comes to OTAs? All right, let's take a look at some of the things that you're saying. Cartel ain't doing too hot today. Lost a good friend this morning due to cancer. Oh, man, I'm sorry to hear that, man. I'm sorry for your loss. Sorry for your loss, man. I'm sorry for your loss, man. I definitely can relate to that, losing a good friend to to cancer. Says, I'm drinking on an Arnold Palmer. Look, man, I'm drinking on water tonight. All right. We got to stay hydrated, man. I was out there cutting that grass before it rained today. Says a woman is usually attached to these balls players going crazy and losing their minds. Look, man, I just reserve my judgment until all the facts come out. I know we live in a rush to judgment society where everybody want to be first, but man, sometimes like these situations don't end up being on up and up. You know, like I'm not look, and we got to have a real conversation here. We got to have a real conversation. These are one of the reasons why when you have people, and look, I don't know what happened. I'm not talking about Josh Jacobs. I'm just saying in general, when situations don't end up being on the up and up, when people are dealing with real serious issues, when they're getting abused, when they are really asking for help, they're crying out, and people just turn the other way and roll their eyes because they've seen this movie before. This is the reason why, you know, because you find out that some of the people that are, you know, filing these lawsuits ain't really, you know, stepping correctly, if you will. And it's hard because you see other people out here, they really have issues, and nobody is really paying attention to them because of what has been programmed inside of our mind. So look, man, you gotta wait for all the facts to come out, because sometimes people could really be crying out for help, but realistically, some people just trying to get a money grab. Keon got to take a massive step forward. Yeah, man, Keon Coleman has got to step up. You know, like everybody loved Keon, you know, him coming into the league. He came in with the everybody remember that yellow jacket he had on, and he was talking about how he didn't spend that much money on it. Had everybody laughing. But as time goes on, man, like if you ain't producing, you ain't as funny, right? I mean, you might crack a joke or, you know, laugh and all that kind of stuff, you know, with people, but man, all of a sudden, like when you're not producing and you cracking these jokes, people like, man, he must don't take anything serious. He don't even take his football career serious. So Keon has got to step up, man. I mean, I was listening to an interview with him, and you know, I was just thinking, like, man, this dude has all the potential in the world, and I think he'll live up to it. And the way that he was talking in his interview, it seems as if he's serious about getting better. And with that, I just think that that's a really good look. That's a really good look right there. Let's see. I still don't like TJ Parker pick. Yeah, I wasn't a fan of that either. I really didn't understand that, but maybe they see something in him that you don't. I was shocked though. What up, TJ? I'm late. How's my brother and family, man? Doing great. Doing absolutely great, man. Just chilling right now, man. Just enjoying life. You know, shouts out to Sleeper Saints for allowing me to be the representative of the Saints. And look, I'm just asking everybody, like seriously, I'm just asking everybody to subscribe to that channel. Okay. We're going to be, you know, talking Saints over there on that channel. And, you know, we'll be talking about Saints OTAs on that channel. And I don't want anybody to miss that. I don't want anybody to miss that. If you want to hear about Saints OTAs and, you know, and talk about that, I'm telling you, subscribe to the channel, because right now we're just putting out videos, but eventually we're going to start live streaming, especially when the season starts. And when I'm mostly talking Saints, I'm probably going to be on that channel a little bit more, folks. We got it because, you know, want to grow that channel to be successful. So make sure that you all subscribe. I'm going to put the link inside of the comments one more time. I'm just asking everybody to please hit that subscribe button. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the subscribe button for the Straight Up TJ podcast also, and as well as the Sleeper Saints. If offense and defensive linemen are on the field during OTAs early today, TJ, if Tyler Shuck is going to be better than last season, since Spencer Rattler has bench, it's so rough. It's a rough season for Rattler. Well, look, man, this is what you wanted, you know, if you're a Saints fan, to draft a quarterback, he work out, and, you know, the next thing you know, you got yourself a starting quarterback. Yes, it is unfortunate for Spencer Rattler, but Spencer Rattler still has a job. And if opportunity presents itself again for Spencer Rattler, if he's ready, then he'll get his opportunity to be a starting quarterback. Because the thing about it is the reputation of Spencer Rattler around the National Football League is not a bad one. It's not like, he lost his job because he was playing god awful. He wasn't. He was just playing at a level that the Saints could not afford to have him as the starting quarterback. They needed a little bit more, and Tyler Shuck was able to give the Saints a little bit more. And with that, more like it was inevitable anyway. Like Tyler Shuck would have been the starting quarterback for the Saints this season anyway. I mean, Spencer Rattler would have had to go out there and just light it up like every single week to a point where he was just undeniable. So it was inevitable that Tyler Shuck was going to be a quarterback. But yes, I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do as an offense with Tyler Shuck taking those first team reps. Says, I watched Green Bay, Jacksonville, Atlanta was besides Who That Nation, a Ray year, the Jags exposed was rusty, Green Bay overconfident. They need to learn. Look, I think it's this. I don't think that Green Bay overconfident. I think sometimes they just panic in those big time moments. I'm watching them in the playoffs. They had no business losing that game the way that they did against Chicago. But such is life. You know what I'm saying? Like it is what it is. I just think that they need to step up. It's a lot of stat padding going on in Green Bay during the regular season and, not getting it done in the postseason. Like Jordan Love is a solid quarterback. He's a top tier quarterback. He's top 10, top 15 in the league. But we all know that stuff doesn't matter if you're not delivering the goods. And by goods, I mean a Super Bowl. You are evaluated based on Super Bowls. That's just the truth. Like, I don't care how many sacks you put up. I don't care how many interceptions you get. I don't care how many touchdowns you throw. You are evaluated by your championship success. You will be mentioned among the best if you put together a resume, but there's always going to be that asterisk by your name that says didn't win a Super Bowl, right? You think about great players that have been in the NFL, put up big numbers, and never won a Super Bowl. Right? It's always going to be in the back of people's mind, can you get it done? That's the question. Can you get it done? Says, I just subscribed. I appreciate that, Cartel. I appreciate you all subscribing to the channel. I appreciate that. Say, TJ, when it comes to our wide receiver room, who do you think has the chance to shock a lot of people production-wise? If you're talking about the New Orleans Saints, I just think that when it comes down to it, you look around this wide receiver room, somebody that probably can stand out is Jalen Polk. I think that he has a good relationship with Tyler Shuck. I think that, he has a great opportunity to probably slide into that third, fourth wide receiver spot. It wasn't like he was just trash. I just think that, he had some injuries, wasn't a good fit in New England. So I like Jalen Polk. I think that Jalen Polk is going to get it done. I'll get more into that, like I said, on Sleeper Saints. We're going to do a video, just talking about, OTA. So I'm going to save my OTA talk for the New Orleans Saints on the Sleeper Saints channel. So that's why I'm asking everybody to subscribe to the channel. Going to go ahead and put it in the comments one more time. I'm just asking everybody, just take a few minutes, a few seconds, if you will. Click on that link, go over to the Sleeper Saints channel, and let's see those numbers grow. Let's see them grow. All right, I'm gonna take a look real quick, see where we're at. Like I said, we just started the channel. All right, I appreciate it. As of right now, we got 37 people that have signed on to the new YouTube channel. So let's see if we can get at least 45 by the end of this show. Let's see if we can get at least 45, hit 45 by the end of this show. All right, feel free to put your questions about the National Football League inside of the chat. Like anything that you want to talk about, rather it's the Saints. I'm not gonna address Saints OTAs. All right, I'm not gonna address Saints OTAs on this episode. Want to kind of just keep it, NFL, like strictly NFL, and talking about those topics. We first talked about Josh Jacobs getting arrested. Had 5 counts, man, like of assault, man, like damage of property, intimidation. Like that's not a good thing, man. That is definitely not a good. And when you hear strangulation, like when you hear that kind of stuff, man, from a premier athlete, like that's scary stuff even to think about, and to put that type of verbiage out there, just not a good look. TJ, why or who that panicking over the management of our players come off injury isn't the same as being injured. The Saints were great last year with soft tissue injuries. Well, like they build on them, at least they did some necessary things that they needed to do in order for them to be able to keep their players safe, paying attention to the analytics, having them wear state-of-the-art technology so you can know how many miles they ran that week, recovery time. Those are the things that are important because the athlete is going to be an athlete. He is going to push himself. She is going to push herself as far as her body allows. And you got to sometimes be that person to shut them down. So I just think that those were some smart decisions by the Saints, getting a good medical staff, getting a good team up in there so they can go and have these players upright. And you're never going to have 100% roster when the season is all said and done, unless you're extremely lucky. You're going to lose some players. I mean, that's just the breaks. But you want to try to keep them as healthy as possible when you have them out there. Do you think the Kamara situation affect Cam's situation? I don't think it affects it at all. I don't. I think the Saints want to wash their hands of Alvin Kamara. I think that Alvin Kamara is not going to be looked at as the bad guy. He's not going to present himself or give the Saints any type of ammunition to make fans flip on him. And look, I just think that the writing is on the wall when it comes to Alvin Kamara. I think Travis Etienne is the feature back. I think the Saints want to go forward with Travis Etienne, and they don't want to pay Alvin Kamara the money that they're giving him. But instead of them doing that, and going out and trying to do what's best for the team, I don't know if they just at a stalemate, but they can get some trade value for him. I'm pretty sure that they can, but I don't think that his situation affect Cam's at all. I think there are two different situations. I think when it comes to Cam, Jordan, I think that Cam has an idea about what he can still bring to the table, and the New Orleans Saints are wondering how that's going to fit. I don't think there's a defensive end on the New Orleans Saints team that is better and more and more consistent than Cam Jordan. Cam Jordan is the most consistent defensive player probably in Saints history. Is because you got to think about this guy never missed games. He was always available for you. And look, man, it's more than never runs cold. So I just think that Cam Jordan has an idea about what he wants to bring to the table, how many snaps he want to get, and maybe he don't feel like he can get that for the Saints. But I just think that as long as this process continues to go, the better the chance is that Cam Jordan will return to the Saints. Now, it may not be on his terms. Maybe the Saints will probably have like some type of deal for him. Maybe it's not the deal that he wants, but the longer this goes on, the more I feel like he is going to sign with the New Orleans Saints, because unless a Super Bowl caliber team like hits you up and says that they're going to allow you to play 45-50% of the snaps at age 37, I see him going back to the Saints. Like if no team is willing to do that. So I don't think one has anything to do with the other. Did you see what Derek Carr said? Yeah, I see what Derek Carr said, and I actually addressed that same situation on the last episode of Sleeper Saints, where you can click on that video and you can find out what I said about Derek Carr on Sleeper Saints. Man, I went into a whole monologue about Derek Carr right there, man. So I talked about that. But yeah, I heard what he said. I pretty much broke it down, and Yeah, I mean, a lot of mistakes. Yeah, a lot of mistakes were made. A lot of mistakes were made on his part. Only part I'm worried about Bills left guard since they lost David Edwards. New defensive scheme not sold on middle linebacker Bradley Chubb. Injury prone, need to fix their secondary. Yeah, I mean, look, they brought in some really good key additions to the team. They're trying to beef up their defense. They know that they need to have a better defense in order for them to be able to go far in the playoffs. And it pretty much exposed the entire team last season when it comes to Josh Allen. They live and die by this guy. He cannot afford to have a bad game. And look, I've seen this on countless occasions where teams will have a dynamic quarterback that is capable of making plays, MVP caliber quarterback, but the defense can't stop traffic with a stop sign. And it just seems like this has been an issue. Like if the quarterback isn't perfect, if his performance isn't immaculate, then they're not going anywhere, right? They can't afford to have a bad game. And sometimes, unfortunately, Josh Allen has bad games in the postseason, and nobody else around him can pick up the slack. Like, you got to find a way to alleviate some of the pressure of Josh Allen. Allow him to be Josh Allen, but if he's not doing Josh Allen things one Sunday, you're not losing, right? Because of it. You got James Cook. I think that, really good running back, probably top 3, top 5 running back in the league right now, right? Like I said, DJ Moore. You got yourself a good offense. You got Dalton Kincaid, Dawson Knox at the tight end position. And then you got, Keon Coleman, who I believe in, but he has to get serious about it. Khalil Shakir, he makes plays. Trey Palmer, really, really good player as well. So at the end of the day, Jordan Palmer, at the end of the day, I just think that all of these players have got to step up. Yeah, I'm thinking about New Orleans Saints Trey Palmer, but yeah, Palmer. Let's say, hey TJ, I asked why you made another channel. Are you referring to this channel, or are you talking about the other channel? Are you talking about the Sleeper Saints channel? Which one are you talking about? Let me see. Are there any trade rumors you like? Josh Sweat to Nola. I mean, a couple like trade rumors. I've heard, going around the National Football League, AJ Brown, more than likely going to the New England Patriots once, post June 1 or something like that. So, I heard that. Josh Sweat, coming over from the Arizona Cardinals, possibly being a member of another team defense. I mean, that's pretty scary. I mean, Arizona, they're trying to rebuild over there. They're trying to figure out who the quarterback going to be. They got a couple guys out there that's jockeying for position. They got Carson Beck, who they drafted. You got Gardner Minshew out there, right? So they're trying to compete to see who is going to be the starting quarterback for the team. I believe they also have Jacoby Brissett as well. So Jacoby Brissett, more of a journeyman, but he is a pretty stable quarterback. Let's see. Also for Bills, their rush defense was terrible. Oh, it was off. Yeah, you weren't lying about that. That was off. He says sleeper channel. No, man, I didn't start the sleeper channel. Sleeper Saints is, Sleeper Saints is a business. And they have a sleeper for every NFL team. So they're Sleeper Saints. And they asked me to start the YouTube channel. Right. So they want me to be the representative, of the New Orleans Saints for Sleeper. So that's the reason why we're starting another channel. And on that channel, you're going to get, a Saints podcast. You're going to get Saints shorts. And like I said, as we grow that channel, it's going to be different. And you might not be able, you might not be able to hear some of the things that you may want to hear from this channel. Probably, I probably won't address it because I did it over there. So that's why I say I don't want anybody to miss the Saints content. And I just appreciate Sleeper Saints for allowing me to be a part of the team. TJ, the team needs to do what's necessary to have the players ready for week 1. Doesn't mean they're hurt. Y'all would be mad if someone got hurt while complaining about how they're managed. Yeah, man, look, they got to be upright. You got to be smart about it. You got to use the numbers. You got to use the analytics, et cetera, in order for you to grow, as a team, like in order for you to be able to win a battle of attrition. If you don't do that and you just, they're going to be all right. Rub some dirt on it. Like it's 1956 or something like that. Like a Nuke Rodney back in the day, coaching Notre Dame or something, winning one for the Gipper. Like, man, you got to keep these players protected. You got to protect them from themselves, and you got to make sure that they're not, just burning all the tread off the tire. TJ, I've noticed it's difficult for a lot of Saints to get on the Tyler Shuck train to the point of not even supporting the team scene. I don't know, man. I haven't seen anybody. Maybe you've seen them, but I haven't seen anybody that I just say that just, don't feel like Tyler Shuck is capable. I just think that Saints fans are just tired of being disappointed. They just sick and tired of being sick and tired. Like they just want to see a winning product. And when you're like 5 years into, just football purgatory, it does kill the morale of the Who Dat Nation. But all the while, I think that there's a very careful optimism because Saints fans want to jump up and really rally around the football team, but they need to see that this team is worth rallying around, if that makes sense. Like, want to make sure that, oh, man, we're not putting all our heart and soul into a team that just does not have it, and we're basically being sold wolf tickets here. So I just think that Saints fans have a cause to pause when it comes to the Saints football product in 2026 because they want to see it all come together. Yeah, Tyler Shuck out here in the streets of New Orleans and shaking hands and kissing baby and being everything that he needs to be in order for the Saints fans to embrace him, and ingratiate him into the culture. But he can do all that stuff. But if he ain't balling out, guess what, man? Nobody is going to care at the end of the day. But I just think that Saints fans have a careful optimism about the team. They're just being very careful. They want to see the team win, but at the same time, they do want to see some results as well. The Straight Up TJ YouTube channel is like the State of the NFL podcast. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I'm going to talk Saints, but it's probably not going to be on the same level when it's probably just going to be like, I like to think it's pretty much going to be like just discuss, not so much in depth, unless something really serious goes on, but for the most part, Sleeper Saints is going to get the majority of the Saints content. Y'all just going to get probably a more laid-back version of me on this channel. I don't know what the heck I'm going to talk. I might talk about boxing one day, WWE. Like, this channel is pretty much designed, for the sports fan. Like, we talk about Josh Jacobs tonight and NFL OTAs. But y'all already know, man, y'all pretty much dictate how the show goes. Evening, TJ, dropping in to affirm you and all that you are doing. I've been following for a while now, and I'm loving the new look and Sleeper Saints. We will have an effective defense. I think we'll have an effective defense, and thank you for that. I appreciate that. Just trying to grow as a channel and just trying to, just give people more entertainment and a better viewing experience. But yeah, I think the defense of the Saints is going to be pretty good this season. I think that you have some guys that are growing within the system. I think that people are going to be more familiar with the defense and offense of this coaching staff. So sky's the limit for the Saints. Who's going to cover the NFL Madden 27 and Deluxe Edition in August, TJ? I hope Drew Brees going to be a legendary addition ever since Hurricane Katrina or Superdome. What's your thoughts about that? I mean, yeah, that would be a great look, considering Drew Brees going into the Hall of Fame. Wouldn't be a bad decision. As far as like the Madden cover, I think you got to give that to Jackson Smith and Jigba. You know, if he wants it, I think that you should give it to Jackson Smith and Jigba. Him being the offensive player of the year. Maybe you want to go with Myles Garrett. Him being a 2-time defensive player of the year. Well, if you've seen Jackson Smith and Jigba's trophy, then I guess you would have 2 defensive players of the year. But if you've seen Jackson Smith and Jigba YouTube video, Instagram video, you'll see what I'm talking about. They actually sent him an award with his name on it that said Defensive Player of the Year on it. But look, I think you have to give it to Jackson Smith and Jigba. If you do a Legends edition, I think you probably want to go with Drew Brees. TJ, how do you feel about the state of wrestling? Man, how do I feel about the state of wrestling? I think that professional wrestling, is pretty solid. I don't have an issue with it. I just think that people may get a little bit too serious about it. But at the end of the day, I think that they got some talent. I just think that they may need to develop some younger talent in order for them to be able to keep the show going. I think they're relying too much on some of the classic superstars. And if those classic superstars aren't showing up on Mondays, on Fridays, people aren't interested because the company hasn't really given you anything to invest in. Maybe a few guys, but there's only a handful of guys right now that are new that you're like, okay, man, I can follow him. I can rock with him. Probably going to be Trick Williams. Probably going to be Obafemi. Brian Breaker. Probably going to be those 3 guys. So they just need to be able to develop some of their talent. I only like Trick. Yeah, Trick Williams. I like Trick Williams. I like Obafemi. Ain't got no problem with Brian Breaker or anybody like that. I just think that they need to develop these characters. They need to develop these guys. Like the younger guys. Like it used to be like, okay, like we know about the Attitude Era. That was like from like 96 to maybe 2001, 2002. Right? But it was like you had the tippy top superstars like Stone Cold and The Rock, but you even had like mid-card guys that had like big time storylines, and you were invested in what they had going on top of just the big time superstars. Now it's like you basically just waiting for what to see the big time superstars promo or them just basically just beating somebody up or something. Like nobody is really standing out when it comes to the young guard. And I just think it's an issue. From the Attitude Era, you had the Ruthless Aggression Era, which was like with Batista and John Cena and Brock Lesnar. Like that was the new school of guys, right? Like, but you still had, Stone Cold kind of around there. The Rock was dipping his toe in Hollywood, but still around there. So I just think that you need to do the same thing. Like you need to elevate some of these younger guys, because if you don't, then, you might be going in the wrong direction, because who's going to be the superstar that people are going to be rooting for and cheering for the next 10 to 15 years, being the face of the WWE? TJ, what you think will happen with our defense? Do you think, or do you see us adding any more pass rushers if we don't get Cam back? Drummer, I don't think you can have enough pass rushers. I don't. Anybody that can get to the quarterback, you need to have them on the team. Maybe the Saints will probably see what they got in OTAs, and maybe they'll try to bring somebody else in if somebody doesn't pan out. But you can never have too many pass rush. I remember the Monday Night War, WCW versus WWE. Yeah, I do too. I can remember watching those, flipping between Channel 25, which was TNT in New Orleans, and Channel 28, which was USA Network. And, you used to be flipping back and forth. And, that was a great time to be a wrestling fan. I was very young. I probably was during the Monday Night War, maybe like 10 or 11 years old. But I was introduced to wrestling at a young age by my uncles. Like I always say, my uncles, like my mom's younger brothers, they're like my older brothers, because they're not like they're only a few years older than I am. I believe my my mom's youngest brother, I think he's only like 5 years older than me. Like so they pretty much grew up like my big brothers. And she has another brother, my uncle, he's like 7 years older than me. So they introduced me to wrestling, all that territory stuff and tape trading and going to Blockbuster Video, renting these VCR tapes. Some of y'all probably losing, but yeah, that's how I end up like loving wrestling, man. I can remember getting blank VHS tapes just to record like events like Clash of the Champions and and New Japan and stuff. Like it was, yeah, man. It was wrestling on the brain in my household, man. We used to move the furniture out of the way, turn my grandparents' den into a wrestling ring. Like it was fun growing up, man. TJ, who you got as your sleeper Saints player this year, bro? Who do I have as my sleeper Saints? That sounds like something that we could put on Sleeper Saints, and I ask that you subscribe to the brand new YouTube channel called Sleeper Saints. Look, honestly, look, to answer your question, Corey, I don't really know. I haven't broke it down yet, man. There's a lot of players that I'm looking forward to seeing. I haven't really looked and thought about like who's going to be who the sleeper player is going to be, who slept on. But that will be a good topic, and I'm gonna give you credit for that one. All right, I'm gonna give you a shout out soon. We do that segment on Sleeper Saints. So make sure that y'all subscribe to that channel, please. Let me see where we're at right now. All right, so we're at 37. Refreshing. Now we're at 51. That's what I'm talking about, man. 51 subscribers. Just to start that page right there, man. Look, appreciate it. I appreciate y'all. Please subscribe to the channel. Y'all gonna hear that, man, because I really want people to join that channel because you're gonna get a lot of Saints content. Gonna get a lot of Saints content on that channel. Strolling up says Jacob Fatu, my favorite. I want him to win Sunday. Yeah, man. Since like he has transitioned over to Monday Night Raw, his personality has changed quite a bit. It has changed quite a bit, no doubt about that. Like, so I think that it is more of the old Jacob Fatu, the Jacob Fatu that people wanted to see versus what they got. Because I mean, he was on some Rikishi Fatu type stuff. Like, I don't know if y'all remember this. You got to be an OG wrestling fan for this, but it was like Rikishi. At one time, he was called Fatu, right? Before he was even Rikishi, and he was like making a difference. He was like going into the community center and talking to at-risk youth and all that kind of stuff. That's kind of like what they had Jacob Fatu on, like had him on some guardian angel Fatu type stuff. But now that it seems like they want him to be more that Samoan Savage that he was on the independent scene. Me too, TJ. I always watch the WWF, WCW, WWE, NFL, NCAA college football, NCAA men and women's basketball, and NBA all the time, man. You pretty much covered every sport then. You could have just simply said, look, I watch all that. I watch all sports. And you would have covered everything, Jeremiah. TJ, you not going to give us nothing on here no more. I'm not saying I'm gonna get talking about Saints OTAs. That's going to be on the channel. Like talking, like I want to be able to like grow that channel because Sleeper Saints is investing in me to be able to grow that channel. So it's not like I'm not going to talk about the Saints anymore. It's just not going to be on the level probably I'll be talking like on Sleeper Saints. It's more like me just talking about a team, just like I'm talking about, any other team. But to get like in depth and stuff like that, analysis and breaking things down, that's going to be more for that channel. But yeah, I am going to, continue to talk about the Saints if necessary. But definitely just want to, like I said, just want to grow that channel. And hopefully, people don't walk away from this channel. Like I said, we'll still be talking Saints football. We'll still be doing some things that we normally would be doing. Like probably gonna be doing like more, live reaction during the regular season, watching the games together. Probably, get back to doing that stuff. Says I don't watch much wrestling nowadays, but back in the day, it was the Junkyard Dog, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Jake the Snake Roberts, and all the old school wrestling stars. Man, you taking me back with that one. Yeah, that's around the time when I was growing up as a kid, man. Man, I was taught, man. It's ironic you said that. I was talking about Hacksaw Jim Duggan just the other day, right? I mean, I was messing with Paxton. We go into the store. He wants to get this little tiny American flag for Memorial Day or whatever. And it was maybe like a few cents. So I ended up buying it for him. And he just going around just waving the flag. And I was like, man, you think he Hacksaw Jim Duggan? Like Hacksaw Jim Duggan was synonymous with the American flag and a 2x4. I told him that's all he missing is a 2x4. But yeah, man, look, those are classic wrestling superstars right there. Says who you got Sunday. I think I'm gonna roll with Jacob Fatu this Sunday because the way that they're setting this up for tribal combat. And then you got to think about the fact that Roman Reigns is not going to be around for the month of June. Probably going to be, more available leading into SummerSlam. I'm just wondering, like, are they going to give Jacob Fatu the title? I think that they are creating a stipulation match to try to get Roman out of like being, losing like flat out. I think they want to elevate Jacob Fatu, but not to a point where they feel like he just dominates Roman. So having a match, end up in just a big calamity and somebody interferes that cost Roman Reigns the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, like that they probably want to go that route. Undertaker, Ric Flair, Eddie Guerrero, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Yeah, man, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Man, my favorite wrestler all time. I've said this before is Eddie Guerrero. Eddie Guerrero was my favorite wrestler, and still watch Eddie Guerrero matches to this day. I don't think people appreciate how great of a superstar Eddie Guerrero was. Really good in the ring, charismatic on a mic. And a lot of wrestlers today, he influenced, and you can see it. You can see it in Dom Mysterio. You can see it in so many other superstars, man, that pay homage to Eddie Guerrero, rather it's their tights or, maybe it's a move set or something. TJ, we need to do a podcast versus podcast on game day. I tell you, it would be fun and entertaining, especially Saints versus Atlanta game. Yeah, I mean, that's probably something that, I end up like working on. I said, put a lot more emphasis on, the content. And like I said, having a better viewing experience for you all. That's my goal. Wherever it may be, that's what I'm down with. Says, what up, TJ? Yada, I mean. What's going on, Clay, man? Appreciate you for being here, man. Shouts out to the NFC South Roundtable. Y'all can check that out on Tuesdays and mostly every Tuesday during the regular season. But shouts out to the NFC South Roundtable brethren over there. Says Eddie put his body through the ringer for us. Same with Jeff Hardy. Says Eddie had a brother. What was his name? Can't remember. I mean, Hector. Hector Chavo Guerrero. Yeah. Chavo Sr. Not Chavo Jr. Like Chavo Jr. is his nephew. Eddie brothers was just so much older than him. Hector, Mondo, and Chavo, they were much older than Eddie. And around that time, when Eddie was young, Chavo Sr. was pretty much a grown man. And then he ended up having Chavo Jr. So Chavo ended up like, hanging around Eddie Guerrero growing up as a kid. There was only a 3-year difference. Says TJ, what they know about that slick Ernie Ladd or Tony Atlas? I don't know, man. I don't know if they know about Big Cat Ernie Ladd, who end up, went to Grambling State University, for those that don't know. Yeah, Big Cat Ernie Ladd. I mean, he was a top drawing baby face like during the territory days. Yeah, Chavo was his uncle. Yeah, Chavo Jr. was his nephew. What I said, uncle? If I said uncle, I made a mistake. Eddie was Chavo's uncle. Okay, so Chavo Sr. was much older than Eddie Guerrero was. Eddie Guerrero was young. Chavo is only 3 years younger than Eddie Guerrero. So Eddie Guerrero is his uncle. But yeah, I mean, Chavo was pretty doggone good, man. You tuned into the NBA. What you think about the Pelicans' new coach? Look, I think that he is what they need. We seen what he did with the Orlando Magic, and hopefully he can do something with the Pelicans, man, because the Pelicans got talent. They just need a leader and a guy that's going to put these guys in the right position to succeed. I'm just tired of watching the Pelicans just fall all over themselves. Like, you would like to see them be able to resurrect their franchise like what Wemby is doing with San Antonio right now. TJ, your son still play football at what position? Yeah, he still plays flag football, man. That's not really a designated position for those players that young. You just kind of get in where you fit in. But for the most part, man, he just plays interior lineman. He's like the defensive tackle of the team because he's bigger and taller than everybody else right now, and he got a little real good sideline to sideline movement. But yeah, I mean, and on offense, he's the snapper. So that's a pretty important job if you're playing flag football. So he's the snapper, and he plays defensive line. So he's pretty good at it, man. Pretty good at wrangling up kids and pulling flags. So I'm proud of him, man. Did you see Mustafa come back to TNA not too long ago? Yeah, Mustafa Ali. Yeah, I think that, man. I think that he's talented. I mean, there was a time where Vince McMahon was going to let him win the Money in the Bank, contract. It was the same year with Brock Lesnar ended up winning. Brock Lesnar ended up politicking his way to to winning, but Mustafa Ali he went the whole week knowing that he was supposed to win Money in the Bank, and then as soon as he went out there before the curtain, before he opened the curtain, Vince McMahon stopped him in his tracks and said, "Look, I know what we said, but it's a change of plans." TJ, who's your Mount Rushmore of wrestling? My Mount Rushmore of wrestling: Eddie Guerrero, Kurt Angle, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and Bret the Hitman Hart. All right. Though, and if you notice, like my favorite wrestlers are pretty much technically sound wrestlers. I like technical wrestling. Right. I'm a fan of Bret Hart. Always was a fan of Bret Hart. I just don't like how whiny he is these days. Always just old and bitter. But when he was in the ring, man, I mean, nobody could really touch him. Kurt Angle, I mean, he was in wrestling for a short period of time. I mean, he mastered it and just put on classic matches with everybody. Eddie Guerrero, I mean, what didn't Eddie Guerrero do? I mean, charismatic, talent on the mic, good in the ring. I mean, just overall, just great guys. And Stone Cold Steve Austin. I mean, a lot of you probably, met Stone Cold Steve Austin 97, 98. But I'm talking about stunning Steve Austin in WCW. I'm talking about when he was with the Hollywood Blinds with Brian Pillman. Like, he was a really good worker and a really good wrestler. And then he ended up getting a neck injury in the match versus Owen Hart. And he had to kind of taper down his moveset. But, man, Stone Cold Steve Austin was really good in the ring. The New York Knicks act like they won the championship already, TJ. Look, man, them Knicks fans been going through it, man. And if you love basketball as much as the New York Knicks fans love basketball, like it is torture. So I can relate to them. I can relate to that. When your team has been suspect, questionable, and it just seems like, man, my goodness, like we can never get out our own way. And finally you break through. I can't get mad at him for that. I can't get mad at him for that. Because imagine how you felt if you are a New Orleans Saints fan when the Saints won the Super Bowl for the first time and only time. Like, how did you feel about that? Shoot. Like, when your team break through, man, you start to feel real good. Real good. But thank you all so much for checking out this episode of the Straight Up TJ Podcast. We'll be back with more content later on in the week. But once again, I'm just asking everybody to subscribe to Sleeper Saints. Be on the lookout for the video that is going to be uploaded on tomorrow, Saints OTAs. It was the first day they hit the field. It was closed. People just, all we seen was like little photography and stuff like that from the team. We're going to be talking about the OTAs day too, because the media gets to go to the practice and see what the black and gold are working with this season. So we're going to be breaking that down, and we're going to be talking about what we're going to be looking for the 2026 season from the New Orleans Saints. Who needs to step up? Who needs to step up? And if not, they have to step aside. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that like button. And make sure you hit the bell for notifications. Follow me on X at TJAY Jones 8. And also you can check out episodes of the Straight Up TJ Podcast that are available on the Yahoo Sports channel, as well as the Facebook page. You can check out videos on Instagram. Just make sure that you all check it out and continue to support. All right. Still going to be doing Saints content, but definitely want you all to go over to Sleeper Saints. All right. Till next time, I'll see you down.
DJ, yeah. Straight up. Let's go. Welcome to Straight Up TJAY. Tap in, sit back, press replay. Been locked in with the Saints on a weekday. Now we talking every sport, every big play. Years on the grind, now we level up the view. From the dome to the world, get a better look at you. No script.